Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back with another episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. And today, I let the afro free. So, hope y'all enjoy it because y'all probably won't see it again, but you'll see it this week. So, I hope everybody's had a great start to the week. I know it's been a busy day for me, and I'm quite sure for many of you, it's been a case of the Mondays, but we're going to end the Mondays with a great episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. And I have a treat for you. I have two amazing guests lined up for tonight, and you're about to meet the first one. Her name is Monique Clesta, and she has an amazing story to tell. Her book is just about to hit the stands, and she's going to tell you all about it. So I'm just going to bring her on, and she's going to introduce herself to you. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Rhonda. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm truly honored.
Well, I'm very honored to have you here. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Now,
So,
you want to hear about myself.
absolutely. That's exactly what I was about to ask.
Well, I am a published author. This is my third book. My first two books were in French, and it was a novel, and the second one was a collection of short essays. And I am also a journalist and have been published by the New York Times, Foreign Affairs, Washington Post,
Wow.
et cetera. And mostly dealing with politics and the analysis. And so that's who I am. But on the side, I've worked numerous years in the development field, international development, and in Haiti and mostly in Africa. And since my retirement in 2016, I have been really very active in service in terms of the pro-democracy movement, feminist organizations, the fight against women, gender-based violence, as well as fighting for more women to be involved in politics in Haiti.
Wow.
That's who I am, in addition to being mother of two and grandmother of four.
Well, first of all, that is an amazing story. When did you realize this was what you wanted to fight for? This was the platform that you wanted to stand on?
Well, I think it kind of grew on me. It wasn't, at the beginning, it really wasn't, this is what I want to fight for. It really, I think, came from a lot of the experiences that I talk about in the book. I myself was a victim of domestic violence. And from when I was a little girl, and it really was my grandmother. And then in my first marriage, I was a victim of domestic violence. And
Wow.
I think that, these experiences really kind of framed me and made me the woman I am. And I talk about that in the book in terms of people didn't come to help me. People didn't say this shouldn't happen
Mm.
when my grandmother was beating me. Nobody said no. And somewhere along the line, I think people have to say, no, this has to stop. And a lot of the
Right.
silence that I break in the book about a huge secret that I found out is really to say, no, this should not happen. We have to stand in solidarity with victims, because in fact, the moment that a victim speaks, she's no longer a victim. And the moment that
She's a
one gives a
survivor.
hand to
Yes.
the victim, you bring that person out of that victimhood. And so I think these are the life experiences that I had that shaped the choices that I made without a lot of the times me realizing that I was making a conscious choice. And that was the direction that I went to.
You know, as you were speaking, I thought about, there was a time, when and I'm talking domestic violence within male female relationships, or as well as familiar relationships, where sometimes people felt like, okay, well, they're beating me because they love me, and people don't speak up because they think, okay, this is the way that this person is showing you love, or you must have done something wrong, and they've gotten so used to that cycle of violence that they think that it's the norm. So I
Yeah.
believe sometimes that's why people don't speak up, and I'm wondering, I know that was the truth for a lot of people back in the day here in the United States, but was that same belief um, prevalent in Haiti as well?
I think it is prevalent. It's part of the patriarchal kind of growing up in most countries. And I remember a friend of mine a man, as a matter of fact, who told me that somebody
Hmm.
was beating up his wife across the street. And he told the guy, please go and tell the guy to stop. And then the guy said, but you don't know what he's beating her for. And so it's
Right.
kind of like there has to be a reason. And I actually wrote an article that was published, and somebody actually wrote a kind of reply to the article and said, but Mrs. Clesca presented her case, but she didn't say what her husband was beating her up for. So
Right.
this
Like
is
he had to have a
common.
good reason for doing what he did.
Exactly. This is very common, and it's part of why we have to talk about these things. We
Right.
really must not only talk about them, we really must provide solutions, and these stories must be told. And I think in terms of finding solutions, it is important. And the book, in a way, is about healing also, healing from
Yes.
the violence, telling people that there are ways out of them, that it does not define you. Because a lot of it sometimes is generational.
Yes.
You were beat up, so
You
your
that's the
head
only way
is
you know. It's the only way you
exactly.
know to express your
Exactly.
frustration.
Yeah.
It's the only
So
way
you
you know to
repeat
correct
it.
the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
So yeah. So you have to break that cycle and then let people know it cannot be this way. So
Hmm.
I am happy to say that there is a lot of healing in the book, beginning with me, and I'm hoping that people who will read it also would feel some of the grace that I talk about, and will heal from some of the violence that they have dealt with in their lives, and that they
Right.
also can extend a hand to others who are dealing with that.
Now, I don't know if you saw the question that Mildred Antonor put in the chat. She asked if you experienced healing as you were writing the book. But I would like to take that question a step further, because there are people out there who are going through what you went through. They may have survived what they've gone through, but they're not ready to revisit that time in their lives to write it down. And
Yeah.
so I'm wondering, when did you make up your mind that I need to write about this? I need to tell other people what I went through. And where do you feel that you were totally healed at that time when you decided to write the book? or did healing, as Mildred asks, come later as you were writing?
I think the healing came as I was writing, because in fact, there was another trauma that I suffered. I was in Haiti
Mm,
during the earthquake, and afterwards I had post-traumatic stress. And I think it's probably something that you're familiar with, having such experience in the army, having seen
yes.
so many people go through all of that. And it was really, when I went to see the psychologist, it was, well, what is it that you like to do? What is it that you can do that you think might take you out of it? And it was writing. So I started writing and kept on writing and kept on writing and kept on writing, a lot of tears. Sometimes I couldn't even read the story because
Wow.
it was so hurtful. And the healing started coming out of that, trying to remember, trying to see, and trying to find out why. There were so many hurts, there was so much trauma, and going through all of the experiences of my childhood. And then I started discovering secrets that, secrets, things that I was not told, and things that because
Wow.
others were protecting themselves or thought they were protecting us by not telling us. And the healing came from that.
Hmm.
And there was one experience that I lived through, that when I found out this huge secret and started writing about it, it took me about 2 years. And I had to actually stop writing because it was such a shock. I couldn't deal with it, and processed it,
Mm,
and then started writing again, starting finding other ways to tell the story. And until I was healed, I could not finish that story. And so finally I did finish it. And so the healing was a process, because you don't just,
yeah.
okay, I'm healed. No,
I'm
it's
ready now.
yes, yes. It was very much a process that I went through, and I'm happy I went through it and came out of it okay. So I really encourage people to read the book and kind of go through the process of growing up in a way with the book, and seeing all the things that you just have to kind of let go. And
Yes,
sometimes you have to speak your truth, and
absolutely.
I had a teacher who said that, family is happy, family is unhappy if you don't write about them, but they're
Mm,
happy when you write about them, but they're also very unhappy when you say things that they think you
right.
should not have
They
said.
want to be in the book, but they only want to be in glowing circumstances. You can only say nice
Exactly.
things.
Exactly. But it's your book and it's my book.
Yes.
And I had to
It's
tell
your
those
truth, and
stories.
it's
Exactly.
your truth, it's your story, and you have to tell your story the way you
Yeah.
see fit, or else it
Yeah.
won't
And
come
I could
across as
not keep
authentic.
silent. Yeah. I could not keep
Absolutely.
silent about some of the truths that I found out, that I discovered. I could not keep silent. Too many people had suffered.
Yeah, I've had a number of people come to me and they tell me that they want to write about their life, or they want to write about a painful period of their life, and because they want to be able to tell their truth, just as you're saying. And one thing I always ask them is, are you ready to strip down naked in front of the world and risk being judged because you tell your story, but everybody is not going to receive your story the way you intended? Some people are going to judge you. Some people are going to think you were crazy. Some people are going to say it was your fault. Some people are going to be totally on your side. And
Yeah.
so, did you go through that range of emotions? I know you said you finally got to the point where you were ready to talk about it, but
Yeah.
did it ever occur to you, or did you ever think, what are people going to really think about me once they read this story?
Well, I did, but I think having gone through the process of myself wondering that and deciding, you know what? I have to speak my truth.
Yes.
And by doing this, by speaking my truth, then I got to a place where I found grace and I found a way to forgive others, particularly my
Yes.
father, my mother, even my grandmother. And
Mhm.
then, I could move forward, but it took a long time. And the writing is extremely difficult, and was extremely difficult. So I encourage others to do this, and sometimes you have to wait until the writing is okay. I remember one chapter, I workshopped it in Iowa, I workshopped it in Skidmore, I workshopped it in a San Francisco workshop. I just kept on workshopping it, and it wasn't working, and it's because I was not ready. And when I was ready,
Mm.
the chapter flowed. So, yes, I encourage people to write, and encourage also people to be kind to themselves, and to
Yes.
be really kind of benevolent with themselves. So don't rush it. Give it time, and it'll come out. And when you're ready, then it can come out, because it can't come out from a space of hate. It can't come out from a space of I'll tell parts, but I won't tell the rest of it. So,
Right. Right.
it was a difficult experience, but there is also some joy in the book. There is the stunning beauty of Haiti, because Haiti is such a beautiful country. And in my
I've always
childhood,
wanted to go.
you never managed to go. Well, you will go
No.
someday. I don't recommend that you go now, but someday you will go. And I hope that I can be there to actually welcome you. But,
Oh,
childhood vacations in the mountains, childhood vacation in the mountains of Kescorf, in Jacmel, which was a seaside town. So I talk about these things and all the discoveries. And so these were good times, and they playing cards, learning how to play cards, learning how to play dominoes, and with my sister also, who was in the book. The book is actually dedicated to her, and because she was my companion. I mean, she's 2 years older, so I found her there, and they pretty much went through a lot of the things that she went through, except with my eyes. And so it's somewhat different. Yeah.
now you mentioned that there was a earthquake that was kind of the catalyst to kind of starting your this journey of writing your story. How did that earthquake play a part in that?
Well, I was in Haiti when the earthquake shook, and it's the earthquake that 2010. And remember, there were about close to 300,000 people who died. And when you talk about close to
Mm,
300,000 people, it's over 250,000 people who died. And the shocks came from me really by leaving my home and going downtown and seeing dead people on the street everywhere, buildings collapsing, more dead people, other dead people. You go that way, more dead people, white sheets, ballooning bodies. And
mm,
it
mm,
just, it just, I didn't realize the shock until, because I was on vacation. And when I came back to New York, then I couldn't function, and it was the post-traumatic stress, and I just could not function properly. You're walking and not knowing, you're crying all the time, you're not sleeping, you're not able
yeah.
to work, etc. And there were really very kind people who offered services. And one of them was a psychologist office, and they offered free services for people who
Hmm.
had gone through the earthquake. And I went
That's wonderful.
to a psychologist and had quite a few sessions, and talking about it. And that out of that came, well, writing is a tool for you. Writing is something that is a healing for you. Writing is something that allows you to express yourself. And so
Yes.
if you like to do that and you know how to do that, then do that. And that was the catalyst to my writing, to starting this book. And I was in a workshop, and people kept on saying, wow, this is such a powerful story. Use it.
I
Give
love
us
that.
more. Yeah.
You never know where inspiration will hit, and you never know, as you found out, what will be the catalyst for you moving into your purpose.
Yeah, and I was very, very lucky to have groups of workshop groups that were really very sustaining, and they really not only sustaining, helpful, encouraging. And so I am still in touch with quite a lot of the writers from the workshop groups I attended, and some of them send me their writings that I edit, and I sent them writings that they edited. So the acknowledgement a section in the book is very long
So, in other words,
because
it's a book within a book.
it's a community. It's the writing community is extremely important to have people who support you too, and who encourage you and who
Yes,
nurture you. And so I think I'm very happy that I have that in my writing life, in my life. Yeah.
that's amazing. Now, would you happen to have the cover, or at least a reading copy so we can see the cover?
You know, I'm very sad about that because I am not in the US, and it's a long story. And I don't have the book with me. I've seen
Oh,
it. I've seen it because my daughter showed it to me. Yona, my agent and publicist and all around support, showed it to me. But I haven't received it yet, unfortunately. And I'm
oh,
kind of
it's
sad about
okay.
that. But I'm sorry about that. Yeah. But it is called Silence and Resistance, Memoir of a Girlhood in Haiti. And there is an interesting story to the cover because in trying to think of what would be really nice, I used to pose for different painters in Haiti, and one of them did
Oh,
a portrait of me, and a very famous woman painter, Lustionier, did a portrait of me, and the graphic artist did a fantastic rendition of that, a portrait of me, with that, and with colors that I love, orange, bright orange colors. So that's it. And I'm encouraging people to pre-order. And when they go to pre-order, they will see the image of the book. So I apologize for not having the image. Yeah.
well,
Ah,
that's
here it is.
okay because look,
Yeah, here it
we have it
is.
right here.
Yes, so wonderful. So you see the beautiful painting that was done, the portrait of me that was done by
Yes,
Lustionier, which illustrates
that's
it. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
love covers that have original art, and this is so striking.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope the story will move people. And I know it will. Sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's encouraging. But as I said, it really is a reckoning. reckoning with what happened, a lot of the political terror that I lived through,
Mhm.
reckoning with the silences of my mother and her confronting her so that she told me the truth very late in her life, and confronting the secrets that my father could not tell me, would not tell me, and
Mm.
that I found out. And so it is reckoning and it is healing. So I think that there is a little bit of everything in it. So I really am looking forward to hearing people telling me that it helped them heal. It helped them at least start the process of healing. And I think it was interesting. One of my nephews told me that he was looking forward to reading the book, but he had some trepidation about the secret of his grandfather. And
Mm.
but that's also, in a sense, that's kind of expected, and looking forward to the feedback that will come after he deals with that trepidation, and after he deals with, wow, this really happened, and how do you deal with that, how do you confront all of that. So I think that that is something that is interesting. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we've come to the bottom of the hour, but Yona asked a very powerful question that I would love to ask you as we close out this segment. But she asked, how do you think the book will be received on in the Caribbean, where issues like this are buried and those who suffer are encouraged to be silent? And are you telling family business?
Yes, I am telling family business. I think, in the Caribbean, Haiti is part of the Caribbean. And I remember one of the editors, who is Jamaican, told me, this could happen in Jamaica. And yeah, this is very familiar. So this is a Haitian story, but it is a Caribbean story, and it is a universal story. So
Mm.
I encourage, and I think one of the things that is important is, I encourage people to read it, and also to break their silence, and to
Mm.
tell their stories. And
Yes.
sometimes you don't need to tell your story to a huge public like what I am doing, but you can tell your story to the children. You can tell your story to your neighbor. You can tell your story to somebody you're close to. So I think these kinds of things are important, but breaking that silence is important. Don't let people tell you that your story is not important. Your story is important, and your story is fundamental to
Yes.
you and to you going forward. So yes, tell your family business. And like the nonfiction guru Philip Lopez said, it's their problem if they don't want to hear it, if they don't want to deal with it. But tell your family story, and tell your story, because it will make you heal, and it will make you feel better. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. Yes,
Yes,
Mark,
I am
she's
Haitian.
Haitian.
So
Uh,
I am
y'all might
Haitian,
be cousins.
citizen of the
Mark is
world.
Haitian as well.
Yes, and a citizen of the world also. Very much
Amen.
so.
Well,
Yeah.
Monique, I had a great time talking with you. This sounds like such a powerful story. Now it's still in the pre-order phase, and so when will it officially hit the stands?
It will officially hit the stand on September 16th. They can order on a Wordy, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and different bookstores. So yes, it is in the pre-order phase, and we are urging people to pre-order, and pre-order massively. Buy it, please.
Yes, massively. Okay,
Thank
we
you
did
so
put
much.
her website in the chat, so you can click on her website if you want more information about the book or how to pre-order it. Let's make sure that this book debuts with a huge boom. Let's go out and really support this book, and please stay in touch. I would love to continue to support your efforts as you promote this very, very powerful story.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Wanda. I really appreciate it. And I had also a lot of fun talking to you and discussing with you. And thank you for your support. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Yes.
You have a great evening, and may God continue to bless you.
Thank you so much. And same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, that was Monique Clesta. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch this amazing interview. Um, I learned so much, and it's just so amazing how, even across countries, many of us go through the same struggles. So I'm really happy that we are sharing our stories and helping each other heal. That's what this is all about. So now I'm without any further ado, two things before I bring on my next guest. First of all, thank you everybody who's watching the show tonight from YouTube. Please, 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 if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the show. We are this close to monetizing the show. And once we monetize, we'll be able to bring even more amazing benefits to the authors we support every week. So please, please, please go and subscribe to the page. It won't cost you nothing. So go ahead and do that. Second of all, I do want to let you know that there are, believe it or not, only 2 slots left for Black History Month Literary Weekend 2026. We will be celebrating our 10th anniversary in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I really want you to be there. So if you are an author and you would like to take part in this amazing, amazing event, just message me and I'll send you the information. But there are only 2 slots left. So hopefully you're going to be one of those two. Now, on August 18th, or whatever the Monday is after August 15th, we will be announcing the authors who will be a part of Black History Month Literary Weekend. So I hope to be able to say your name as well. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Mr. Marvin Bryson. He was actually a featured author with the Black History Month Literary Weekend back in 2018, which was the third year of the event. So we've known each other for quite a while. Hello, Marvin. How are you?
Hey, Dr. Ron, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. It's good to see you again.
It's great to be seen. Really great to be seen. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to tell the audience, I've been at this for a long time. And one of my favorite phrases is you got to separate the contenders from the pretenders. And you and I met at NAACP. Oh, no, it was the Black Caucus, Congressional Black
Yes, the
Caucus.
Black Caucus.
And you and I talked in October, and you had me down in New Orleans on your show that spring. So, so you're a real one. And then again, had me back a couple years later for the Arthur Showcase. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, your story deserved to be told. I mean, your the book that I met you that you were promoting at that time was about caregivers.
Right.
And I think sometimes, we think about the people that we're caring for, but we sometimes forget about the health and well-being of the person who's doing the caring.
Right.
And that can be a really stressful time for that person. So I really wanted to help you to tell that story.
Right. I appreciate that. It's really made a difference. So I've actually become a family caregiving advocate by accident, just by writing the books. Because I've actually written 2 caregiving books now. So, and one went through, I guess, up to assisted living. And then after my mom passed away, I did from skilled nursing all the way through palliative care. And in that second book, I definitely added a chapter about self-care. Because the time I was writing the first book, I don't even know if self-care was a thing, you know what I mean? Back in 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Now it's
it's a catchphrase now.
Right.
More people on social media are promoting self-care, but we make it look so glamorous. Self-care is going to get massages or drinking mimosas on Sunday or getting facials and things like that. But there's more to self-care than that.
A whole lot more to it. Yeah. Particularly when you're in a caregiving situation, because it's really stressful. Since that point, when you're in the airplane, they say you got to put your mask on first before you help other people.
Yes.
Got to get mask on. That's something you got to learn as a caregiver. A lot of times, you just burn yourself out taking care of other people, and then you end up messing with your own health. And I can
Absolutely.
testify to that. It's really a stressful thing.
So now the book that you're promoting now is actually not about caregiving.
Oh, not
It's
at all.
actually
Not at
about
all.
football.
It's fiction. Well, it's about football, but it's about what happens to most guys that play football. Most guys that play football, they go to college, they may or may not graduate, and 99% of them definitely not going to the pros. And so I wanted to tell that story. And then I also wanted to tell a story that wasn't about heroes, wasn't about these legendary coaches or these superstars or these championship teams, but this about the millions of guys who have played football over the years and how football helped them really be good people in life. When you play team sports, it teaches you how to work with other people. And to be on a football team, you have to have good grades. You can't be messing up in school, and you got to be disciplined. So it teaches you all those things. To me, it's like one step below military as far as just teaching you how to be a team player and how to persevere. And because it's a brutal sport, and it's a little bit more civilized now. But back when I played, we talk smack about these guys like they ain't even really playing football, but they still hit each other. And the guys are so much bigger, stronger, and faster now. But the book is also, it's a love story. It's about my lead character's dedication to this one female, this one girl. But like I said, it's all fiction, but you can't really write fiction. You got to write what you know. You can't. It's not like you can go out here and research life. You got to pull from life experiences. So the lead female lead is inspired by 3 or 4 women I dated over the years. Because I really went back to when I was 20 years old, 18, 19, 20 years old, and I'm in my 60s now. So I have a whole lot of more, I guess, mature dating experience, and then I see things differently than when I saw them then. And then the lead character is loosely based on, inspired by me, and then the lead character's best friend in the book is inspired by my best friend in real life. We're different sizes and we do different things, but at the end of the day, we were the germs for those particular characters. But it's definitely fiction.
I like the fact that you are focusing on the people who may not have necessarily gone pro, who didn't become superstars, because often Hollywood and probably some books to some extent, we romanticize going after that all-American dream of playing football or basketball, and we think that that's our ticket out. But what happens when we don't make it? If we've put all of our hopes and dreams on making it, and then we don't make it, what's next? So it's good to
Exactly.
focus on those stories as well.
Right. Well, as you know, I have a background in film and television, and this novel is actually the first screenplay I ever wrote. And I've been writing screenplays like 20, 25 years now. And so what I tell a lot of the young people, our newer screenwriters, is, first of all, most people try to cover too much ground in their first screenplay. They overwrite and they use too much exposition. Now, exposition is fine in literature, but it's not fine in visual storytelling. And so, I'm a paralegal, and I did a lot of business writing. So what I had to do when I became a creative writer was to basically realize I could break rules. And it's more about having people, kind of touch, feel, taste. And you want to put people in the scene so they feel the emotions of it. But ironically enough, with it being my first screenplay and with all those other elements I just mentioned, it rolled right out into a novel pretty easily. And I'm not gonna say easily, but it wasn't. Easily. I say easily.
Well, the story was there. You just had to kind of fill it in.
Exactly. And it's interesting because when I finished the first draft, I just kind of felt like it wasn't complete. And so I had to come up with a whole new arc, so because it kind of ended with my lead character, and this is not really a spoiler, so it doesn't matter. Basically accepting that he's going to work in the real world, and that's pretty much where it stops. But then I time jumped 10 years to 10 years later. Like, so what happened to this guy over these 10 years of learning how to be a corporate professional, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't really trying to get into that so much, is just really just make the story feel complete. And I talk to writers all the time. Writing is rewriting. I tell them that all the time. It's like, we're sculptors basically. You get this brick of clay and you just keep sculpting till it works. Because the earlier guest, when she was saying she just workshopped and workshopped and workshopped, like I was saying, the first time I touched this book, the words for this book was 2002, and it's 2025, and I'm just now getting it out to the universe because
we never think that it's perfect enough. We keep striving for perfection with the book,
right?
And I'm not saying just throw out some junk or just make it just good enough, but we just have to accept when we've told all we can with this story, and if we keep trying to strive for perfection, we'll never make it.
Well, something that helped me. I started playing music when I was 12. Got my first paycheck playing music when I was 15. And so songs are nothing but short stories. And when you're in the studio as a producer and you finish a song, right, you got to ask yourself, if I spend another hour working on this song, is it going to take it from a 9 to an 11? And, am I going to spend this extra 500,000, 5,000, whatever I got to spend to move this up a notch? By me being a producer, a music producer, it really helps me. I don't have a problem with that. I know when to just leave it alone. Like it's going to be what it's going to be. And then fast forward to when I started my visual media career as a film editor. Same thing. You can edit forever. So you gotta find a place to be comfortable with your narrative, with your arc, and just be there. Because I really learned how to tell stories, being an assistant film editor on Law and Order, because people don't understand, like the original version of the story is the script. Then what the director shoots is the second rewrite. And then the third rewrite of the script is what the editor edits. And, editors save bad stories all the time. I mean, a lot of people don't give these. You see that film editor come up on your TV screen? Give that person some props. Because I'm telling you, they are the ones that shape what you are seeing. But most people, they just see the actors and they think the actors wrote what they're saying, or whatever. So, but that's really where I learned how to tell a story. I mean, I've really learned how to, this 3-act structure, stock characters, all that type of stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I love to write.
But no, I was just. Oh, okay. Go ahead. You can finish.
No, you got. I'm finished. Yeah. I'm finished. Can I answer your question? I know I'm a little long-winded sometimes.
Okay. No. Well, I was just going to ask. I was going to mention. I had this conversation last week where I was saying that sometimes I think writing a movie script is actually harder than writing a full book, because as you were talking about exposition earlier in the interview, we don't have all that time in a script. That script has to be done in like 60 to 90 pages at the most.
Right.
And the book, I can write 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages. So I can go into all of that description if I want to, but I can't do that in a script. And sometimes that's harder because I feel like I need them to understand what was going on in this scene, but I can't expand on that.
Yeah, well, basically, like you were saying, they use this screenwriting software. It's called Final Draft, basically. And Presto Magico, a page of Final Draft is a minute on screen. Don't ask me how they do it. They just do it that way. So a show you see, like, for example, Law and Order was 42 minutes, but we would have 64-page scripts. So the editors and producers that taught me how to tell the story, they would take 20% of the story away and still make it work, which is amazing. But feature films don't have to do that because they don't have to conform to a time. So, because I think I might have done 200-300 episodes So I've literally sat in or was part of making 200 episodes of television work. And some scripts you get are great, some scripts you get are awful. You know, some actors can act, some can't. And because if you ever been in if you ever been in an editing suite, it's brutal. You know, they're constantly ragging on the writers, they're constantly ragging on the actors, and they're constantly ragging on the directors, saying like, who wrote this crap? Who that dude can't act, that chick can't act. You know, who directed this stuff? And but they fix it. So I kind of learned how to tell stories by fire. You know, and I think so many writers, so many screenwriters don't even understand that. You know, after you finish the script, it's out of your hands. You know, they pay you and it's over with, unless you're some television producers. I mean, writers are also producers. But circling back to August Heat, a couple of years ago, a guy approached me to write a film about his life. I helped him write a script about his life. And when we started talking about it, I'm like, dude, this is too much for a film. And what you just described to me is a movie. And so this is the book that I did with I think you can see it okay. It's called The King's Path. And the thing about that book that really helped me was it was about a go-go band from DC who went out to LA in 1990 and signed with Delicious Vinyl. Okay, lo and behold, I grew up playing a little go-go, but I also lived in LA in 1990 while I was trying to get my music career going.
Marvin, what did you not do? I mean, I feel like you probably have every talent under the sun right about this time.
Well, it's not what I didn't do. I talked to my friends. I got friends that did the 20 and 20. I got friends that did 20 in the military, 20 in the government. And they say, man, I wish I'd have done what you did. I'm like, nah, bro, I wish I'd have done what you did. But fundamentally, my life mantra was, if I got a chance to try something new or keep doing the same thing, I'm trying something new every time. You know,
I love that.
I'm trying something new every time. And, you know, God bless my daughter, Lakai, I love you to death, sweetie. And my grandchildren, you know, Zaya and Zaire, they had to put up with, you know, this kind of intermittent guy times. You know what I mean? Because my daughter's in her 40s now. And when she was a teenager, I was right in there. But my oldest granddaughter, for example, I was living in LA. So I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her. But my baby granddaughter, I was with her every day of her life for the first 5 years. So, you know, everything you choose to do, it's something you're giving up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, hindsight being 2020, I don't know if I'd have done it the same way, really. But on the other hand, I have no regrets. I'm not up here worrying about, well, what if I tried this? What if I tried that? What if I tried the other? And you know, I've had, you know, I tell people I've done everything but get rich and famous in the game. I mean, I've been on the A-list. You know, I've been on the A-list, you know. I mean, I'm just not a household name, but most people on cruise on a household name. And I wasn't on the A-list for a month. I was on the A-list for years.
I learned that a long time ago that sometimes it's not about being that name that's out there famous, because the people who are making it happen are the people behind the scenes. Many of us didn't know who Nipsey Hussle was until he was unfortunately killed. And then we realized that he was the driving force behind so many people who were actually out there.
Right.
So, I mean, sometimes it's not about being famous.
Yeah, well,
it's about being influential.
Well, it's funny. I taught television production for a year at the Community College of Baltimore in Essex. And when I start whenever the first semester, I give the kids a primer on how to have a successful media career. And so one of my students asked me one day, like, Mr. Bryson, so you think you big time because you did all that stuff, right? And I had to laugh because I say there's three types of people in entertainment. You got people who want to get rich, you got people who want to get famous, and you got people who do it because they have no choice. I'm like, if I want to get rich, I would get into real estate. I would be an engineer. I would be a lawyer. I would open my own HVAC. There's many more ways and much more sustainable ways to get rich than going into entertainment. And if I just want to get famous, I just do something stupid. I get my 15 minutes. So trust and believe. I've tried to walk away from this stuff. I really have. But it's like crack or Brokeback Mountain or something. I can't quit you. You know, I just keep going. I keep going back. So, you know, it's just in my soul, you know. And that's why I tell people I do it because I love it. It's who I am, you know. And unfortunately, most people don't understand it. You know, they just, you know, because I tell people all the time, if I had $1 for every person told me they was going to make an album, write a book, make a film, I would be rich for the people who didn't do it. You know, because it's a lot of work. It's dedication. You know, it's a whole lot of dedication. So,
and I think a lot of people do get a little they get a little scared of the process, especially
right.
when they look at you, because I've seen you work, and you put a lot of intentionality behind everything that you do, whether it's writing, whether it's even putting together a Facebook video. There's just a lot of thought that goes into it. I mean, even the times that you came out to New Orleans, what you came out to New Orleans for me twice. One time was for the Caregiver Summit. And then you came out for the Black History Month event, and you still put a lot of intentionality behind both of those events. So I think sometimes people may see your process and then they may get a little intimidated.
Yeah, well, I think you said it right, process, you know, because what I learned, particularly when I got on the A-list, was you just don't know what you don't know. Because a lot of stuff is not in books. You are as good as the people you are working with. If you are the smartest person or the most experienced person, you need to seek out somebody who has more experience than you. Not to say that you can't learn from people who don't, because I learn something new on everything I do. You know, and I thank God for the people that I work with, because, you know, they call it the filmmaking community or the writing community for a reason. You know, we're a community, you know, and I think we understand each other, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have a copy of the book with you?
Oh yeah, I got a copy of all 4 of my books, but this is the latest book right here. To put it up, hopefully you can see it. It's called August Heat, and that's actually a picture of me that I converted into a painting. That's actually me playing for Oxnard High School, chasing down the white guy is Charlie Pritchard. Now, Charlie was one of those guys. Charlie was a fast white dude, so don't believe white guys are slow. And then the back cover is probably my favorite. That's me, and I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it's in focus or not.
No, it got a little blurry on it.
Yeah, well,
bring it closer to you. Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, that's my high school football picture with my best friend Paul, and then one of my teammates Jeff Tisdale. You know, and because Jeff ended up going to Howard, me and Paul played at UDC, so we had that whole HBCU thing, and I talk about that in the book, because the HBCU experience is fundamentally different from a PDI, you know, a PDY.
Absolutely.
You know, so PWI, sorry, PWI. So
we know what you meant.
Yeah. So in any event, you know, I'm just happy. You know, I didn't grow up in the hood, but I didn't grow up in the projects, but I grew up kind of like in a working class neighborhood. So by the time football season was over with, all my aggression was gone. I was a linebacker, so I got to hit people for like 6 months. I ain't gonna hit nobody after that. You know, and I tell people all the time, I haven't been in a fight since I was in 8th grade, because I can't see myself throwing hands at somebody over some words or something simple. You know, and thank goodness nobody's like, you know, done anything toward my family the way I had to jump in. But as far as this throwing down over some nonsense, that's not me. You know, and I kind of learned that control from being a football player. But the main thing, it just taught me how to persevere. It really, because I talk about it in the book a little bit. You know, it was a struggle for me my first 2 or 3 years. You know, I didn't really get to start until my senior year of high school. You know, and I ended up making, like, they call it all county, but it's basically all league, honorable mention. And then I got to go on to play college football. And because it's like, you know, 10, say just for giggles, it's like 10 million guys who play high school, you know, 3 million that play all levels of college, Division I, Division II, Division III. And there's only like 3,000 pros. So you go from like I say, 10 million to 3 million. I mean, it's plenty. I'm satisfied with my football career because there's plenty of people who dreamed about being a collegiate athlete and never was. And I got to be a collegiate athlete. So that's my thing. You know, I mean, I find that I just feel blessed for the opportunities I've had. I just feel really lucky, you know.
Amen. I tell people often about my nephew because my nephew was a football quarterback. He was a quarterback in high school.
Right.
He was a quarterback in college, but he didn't go pro.
Right.
But and at first he was down about that, but then when we had to look at it through a different lens, that perhaps football was his catalyst for getting a degree, because who's to say that his parents would have been able to afford to send him to college? But because of football, he was able to go to college on a full scholarship, and he was able to get a degree while he was there, which got him a great job when he graduated.
Right.
So
Well,
football
yeah.
was kind of his way of getting that. So
Well,
sometimes we look at, I didn't go pro, I failed, but perhaps you didn't go pro because there was another purpose for you.
well, yeah, this wasn't in the cards. Well, first and foremost, football has really changed a lot. The reason I named this book August Heat, because we started football practice on August 15th, and we did 2-a-days. But I guess about 10 or 15 years ago, my high school started doing like football camp, away camp. They would go somewhere for 2 weeks. And two of my old teammates, Virgil Blocker and a guy named Dwayne Welcher, they would buy the first meal for camp for the guys. And they would have 2 or 3 or 4 of us go down there and talk to the kids. And so they asked me to do that one year. And I told all the kids, if you get a scholarship and you do not graduate, you played yourself. You are going to school to get an education. Because I know with me, I went to school in Northwest. So I was Howard, UDC, AU, GW. I went to Morgan, a Bowie. I was just too busy partying and not focusing on my work. So I just always try to tell the kids, if you're going to go through all that pain and suffering that you go through to be a football player, graduate. If you don't get your degree,
Right,
you got played.
right. Well, unfortunately, we have made it to the top of the hour.
Okay, well, it's always
So,
good to talk to you.
it's always good talking with you. But remind us where we can find your book.
Okay, well, the book is available on Amazon, and you can get a paperback or an ebook. But a friend of mine pointed out to me, if you download an ebook on the Kindle, you can have Alexa read it to you. So if you say, Alexa, read this book, it'll read the book for you. And I didn't even realize that. Now it's Alexa's voice. It's not a voiceover actor or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to read it, you can listen to it by downloading the ebook and then having Alexa read it. So
I tell you, I'm an audiobook girly. I love a good audiobook, but I'm reading your book physical.
Okay, well, great. I'm glad. And I hope you're enjoying it, because I had some people, anybody who might notice themselves in the book, I kind of sent them a signed copy. And working on Law and Order, I got to say this before I let y'all go. You know how they got them disclaimers at the top of the show? I put a disclaimer at the top of the book. It says, the following story is fictional and does not depict any actual persons, entities, or events, because there's a lot of people that might see part of themselves in a character, but no character is one person. It's an amalgamation of
Right.
And that's kind of like the way I write. When I create a character, I give the first name of somebody I know, then the last name of somebody I know, and that gives me a place to start as far as their personality. So, but again, I try not to be. Well, I'm still learning. At the end of the day, I'm still learning how to be an author. And I had that, imposter syndrome for a while, but I think everybody gets that. Now, I've worked with people.
An imposter with 4 books, right?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, you still get that. I know people, like I say, A-list award winners, and creative people are the most insecure people breathing. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No matter how successful you get, you're always going to wonder if it was by accident.
Oh yeah, well, I know it's by grace, because that's something else I try to tell people too. They had just so few jobs in the entertainment industry. When I was working on Law and Order, being an assistant film editor, I literally have one of 150 jobs. So worldwide, I'm talking about, just American broadcast television 1-hour dramas is 150 jobs. Now, granted, I had to move to LA and put myself in a position to get that job, but it was God. At the end of the day, that's just got to be divine blessing, and so basically, That's something else I try to explain to people too. Is there's not a whole lot of jobs in entertainment. They might be 30, 35,000 people worldwide that get paid to write scripts. So you got 5 million people trying to get 35,000 jobs. But yeah, it's not like you're driving a bus or even a brain surgeon. How many brain surgeons is it around the world? Probably 300,000-400,000. So being a writer is a fraction of that. So you just got to know what you're getting into. But I write because I love to write. Have you ever seen Rebel in the Wrath? That movie about J.D. Salinger?
I have not, but I'm going to find it.
Okay, well, he goes in and meets with Kevin Spacey's character, who's his academic advisor. And basically, his academic advisor says, if you don't write for the sake of writing, knowing that people may not read, people may not see your book, you're not a real writer. And I was like, that was pretty interesting. And it was easy for me to glam onto that because I find that to be true. But because I'm gonna write regardless, I'm gonna write, and again, I just want to get these stories out. So I feel fortunate to have done that, and I'm working on my first. I'm doing a neo-noir like detective movie now about a black detective in DC named Cooley, Wilton Cooley. Yeah, he's a former policeman, so I'm having a real good time with that. So I'm hoping I'll have that out in the next year and a half, and hopefully it'll make some noise. But again, I'm just having fun because I love film.
I was just about to say, keep enjoying the process. I mean, I think that's the fun thing about writing that we take for granted.
Man. Well, that's what I tell people,
process of writing.
Because I've helped a lot of people because a lot of people helped me and along the way. And I just tell them, like, you gotta, not to be sacrilegious or anything, but at the end of the day, you like God, you creating the world. It's literally your world, from the people to from the animate things to the inanimate things and everything in between. So, it's a good way to just let your imagination flow, but it's also a discipline required. And then you got to do some studying to see what the format is. You got to learn 3-act structure. You got to figure out how many pages is a novel, how many words, because, novels aren't really measured in pages, they're measured in words, just like chapters are measured in words. So, because my goal is to do between 50 and 80,000 words per book.
Okay.
And then my chapter length is 2,400 to 3,000 words. Because James Patterson is one of the most successful writers ever, and he's known for his short paragraphs. Now, my paragraphs aren't short as his, but
I said it before that you are very intentional with everything that you do. For you to have broken that down shows that you are very intentional with how you approach things. All right, but Marvin, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm enjoying your book. Once I get it done, I'll give you my complete review. But keep writing. I'm really glad to see that you're still in the game. And if I can ever be a support, do not hesitate to say so. I think I lost him, but that's okay because it's the end of the show. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight. I really appreciate it. This is a great, great audience. I really loved all of the engagement. Thank you for supporting the authors. If you haven't done so already, please go over to the YouTube page, or if you're already watching from YouTube, make sure you go and give us a subscribe so you can see amazing content like you saw tonight, and help us to reach our monetization goals. We are really trying to get this show monetized so we can support more great authors, just like many who are watching tonight, and that we can bring great content to the readers who are watching tonight. So that's all I have. Thank you once again. May God bless you. Here's the link to the YouTube channel. Please go click the link and subscribe to us. We are less than 100 subscribers away from being able to monetize the show. So we really need your help. All right. So that's all I have for tonight. I will see y'all tomorrow on Black Authors Matter TV. And if you were in the Atlanta area, we will see you this coming weekend at the National Book Club Conference. I'm so excited. I'll be there with my Black Authors Matter TV co-host, Gwen Richardson, and we'll be there with t-shirts, books, all types of swag, and we can't wait to meet you. So that's all we have for tonight. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. Have a great evening and keep reading. Bye-bye.